On today's show, what if Alperen Şengün takes another leap? What does that mean for the Rockets? Are they title bound? Does Franz Wagner and the Magic have enough time for him to develop a shot? We'll talk about that and more. Today's Locked On NBA Daily starts now.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome. You're Locked On NBA. My name is Nick Angstadt, host of the Locked On Mavericks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today, I'll be your shot clock Sherpa. Thanks for being an everydayer, making Locked On NBA your first listen today. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use that code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Haize, what's something you spend way too much money on?
Clearly merch. You already know it's ridiculous amounts of merch every single day. I have well over 300 hats at this point in time. So
you could almost have different one every day. And I challenge you to do that this year on Locked On NBA.
Okay.
Wes, what's something that you purchased that the wife looks at the bank account and goes, Wes, really again?
Okay, so in terms of who has the more lucrative shopping habit, I am second in my household, so she can't.
Wow.
She can't say anything.
I gave you a chance to take some blame, and all of a sudden it was pointed.
She says she's the worst. She's the worst at talking people out of buying things. Every time, I'm looking at a hat, like Haize, when you're looking at a hat and you need somebody to be like, Haize, you know what? You already bought 3 hats this week. Maybe not. My wife will just be like, no, that one's sick. Get that one too. This is not helpful.
It's Haize from Locked On Bulls. It's Wes from Locked On Heat. Myself from Locked On Mavs, and we're taking over today. Let's get into some of our topics today. We'll talk about the Magic and hear from Phillip Rossman-Reich of Locked On Magic. Franz Wagner in Germany in EuroBasket are playing really well, but Franz Wagner and his shot, did they have enough time? We'll also play a segment of Buy It or Deny It. Well, I'll go through some different statements, including Deni Avdija and Israel, and talk about Deni Avdija's stake in the NBA. But let's start here, gentlemen. Let's start with the Houston Rockets and Alperen Şengün is playing for Turkey right now, and he is just playing out of his mind, playing really well. Could be MVP, and that's what Jackson Gatlin thinks about Alperen Şengün. Let's hear from him.
Continued to have himself just a series of impressive performances here in EuroBasket in this game. 21 points on 8 of 13 shooting overall. He was 6 of 10 inside the arc, 2 of 3 from downtown. He was also 3 of 3 at the charity stripe. So solid efficiency across the board for Alpine to go with that 21 points. He also had 8 rebounds, 5 assists, had a steal, had a block, was a plus 22 in his 32 minutes of run. And here's where the history kicks in. Alperen Şengün is the first player to have more than 20 points, more than 5 rebounds, and more than 5 assists in 3 consecutive EuroBasket games over the past 30 years. It's been 30 years. That's kind of crazy, honestly. The fact that Şengün has been that dominant through this stretch of EuroBasket. There's a pretty strong chance that he walks away as the EuroBasket MVP, assuming that Turkey is able to place, in some capacity with a medal somewhere down the line. He's been that good. He's one of the leading scorers. He's top 3 in assists. He's top 5 in rebounds. He's up there near the top in pretty much every major statistical category. And that continued on in this game against Estonia.
Let's start with this one, Haize. If Alperen Şengün takes this leap that he's experiencing in EuroBasket right now, takes it to the NBA, that means what for the Houston Rockets?
It should mean if he takes this type of leap with them adding Kevin Durant and the kind of isolation score that they were missing, it should mean that the Houston Rockets are a legitimate championship contending team. Now, I know I'm higher on the Rockets than a lot of people are, but I look at this team and I say if they carry over the defense they had, they got exactly the score that they need. They need one of their young players to make a leap, whether that's Şengün, whether that's Amin, whoever that is. They need one of those young guys to take a leap. If they do, to me, they're on their path for a Western Conference Finals for sure.
There's no question about it, right? They need one of those guys to emerge as a bona fide number 2. And it's an open question. Is it Amin? Is it Şengün? Is it somebody else? It's probably one of those 2, if we're being honest. But look, Kevin Durant has praised Alperen Şengün this summer, right? He's on record on Twitter, or whatever we want to call that, in terms of being a fan of Şengün. And you could argue that maybe Kevin Durant has not learned from some of his career mistakes, the way that his career has gone. I would argue that by choosing the Houston Rockets, he has. This is a very different team than the kind of teams that he's picked in the past where, he goes to the Warriors because they're the Warriors. He goes to Golden State, or he goes to Brooklyn to pair up with his friend Kyrie Irving. He gets them to trade away Jared Allen and bring in DeAndre Jordan and all these things. I was always a little dubious that Durant was ever going to join Houston, only because there wasn't a superstar on that roster, even though all of us who do things like this agree it's a great roster for Kevin Durant, but superstars don't typically join teams this way. They want to join teams with other superstars. And the Rockets, for as talented as they are, they don't necessarily have that bona fide superstar. Kevin Durant did not care. He saw the basketball fit. He said, I believe in Alperen Şengün. I believe in Amen Thompson. I believe in some of these guys on this roster. And Haize, if you can make an argument right now that Alperen Şengün is the best center that Kevin Durant has ever played with, right? You look at his career, it's Kendrick Perkins in Oklahoma City. You could count maybe Serge Ibaka, but he really didn't play a whole lot of five in OKC with Kevin Durant. You go to Golden State, good centers, not great ones, kind of plug and play guys, whether it was Zaza Pachulia, Andrew Bogut, JaVale McGee, Kevon Looney. He had that one kind of experiment with DeMarcus Cousins, who was far from what he was in Sacramento. Brooklyn, he plays with DeAndre Jordan. There was an Andre Drummond, LaMarcus Aldridge thing going on there for a while. And then Phoenix, it was DeAndre Ayton and Nick Richards last year. You could argue right now, the season that we saw from Alperen Şengün last season was the best Durant has ever played with. And if this is a leap that we're seeing happening right now in EuroBasket from Şengün, no question about it, we're going to see him play with maybe the best center he's ever played with. And I think that's fascinating for what that means for Durant's game.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think just the whole, I'm excited to see Durant finally go to a team where, he just needs to be him. He doesn't necessarily need to be the leader either. Kevin Durant isn't a boisterous leader. He just needs to go in and really do his thing. But you make an amazing point. Şengün would instantly become the best center that he's ever played with. And I also think he has some of the best defenders all around him that he's ever played with as well. This could be a really, really, really good team this upcoming year. You're adding him to a team that already won 52 games last year. And yeah, they have to change their identity a little bit, but I think that they have players that are ready to step up. And Jabari is another one that I would say has to step up considerably next season for the Rockets as well.
Let me throw this one in there. How good does Alperen Şengün have to be for them to even sniff OKC, or are we close to there right now?
That's a great question. Yeah. To me, it comes down to their defense and where does Şengün hold up defensively when they start putting him in the NutriBullet, right? Where it's okay, we're going to start running Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren pick and pops. We've got Isaiah Hartenstein who can space the floor from that free throw line area. How does Şengün hold up against that and teams like Denver and teams that are going to test him? The offensive production that Jackson Gatlin is talking about is incredible. Defensively, I do think Şengün has gotten better over the course of his career, but as we all know, the further you go in the playoffs, the more your defensive weaknesses are highlighted and picked at. And Houston is yet to make that deep run to the playoffs. So that's where I start with them.
Yeah. It's for them to get close to the OKC Thunder, I think they're going to have to not just have Şengün. They're going to have him and Amen Thompson, because you're going to need not only defense, but you're going to need that pressure up front. Now, that's not to say that they can't go far, that they can't go to the Western Conference, but I think for them to clearly be a team that you're talking about in that same level as the OKC Thunder, you need Amen to also step up. And Şengün, to me, has to just be more refined than what he was last season. There are times where Şengün was the Houston Rockets offense, but there are also some times where he kind of disappeared. He can't afford to disappear next year if they're going to be a championship contender.
I just don't know if I see the ball handlers for that team. You're putting a lot of guys in really precarious situations, because what we've talked about Alperen Şengün, he's been great and all that. He's not bringing the ball up for you. They got to get into those actions. You got to get the ball to Şengün eventually. You got to get the ball to Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, I guess, can bring up the ball, but you don't want him at 36, 37 years old doing that all the time. Amen Thompson's handle has been suspect, and Jackson Gatlin talked about how that's the thing he absolutely needs to improve. So it's a lot on Fred VanVleet. It's a lot on Reed Shepherd, which
that's the problem.
That's the next name.
That's the problem, because Reed Shepherd gave them nothing last year, so he's going to have to give them something.
And we saw in Vegas teams press Reed Shepherd at half court and
at Summer
trying
League.
To take the ball in Summer League, and he had a problem with it in Summer League. So teams are going to do that. I think that's a very, very good question, Nick. And frankly, that's what's going to make their transition game so important, and it's going to make their half court game really interesting to watch, because when they do eventually bring that ball up and they get into their half court sets, once they get past that first layer and first question of, well, who brings the ball up court? Once they get into the half court, you've got one of the best half court shooters of all time in Kevin Durant. And I think with Şengün now, you can kind of get into some of that stuff that Kevin Durant was able to get into in Golden State, some of the pinch post stuff, some of the things that Kevin Durant was able to do off the ball in Golden State that he wasn't really able to do in these other stops. If Şengün can be that facilitator out of the post, that to me is really interesting, but you got to kind of hit that. You got to peel back that first layer before you get to that part of it.
Who's getting to the rim? Who's peeling back that layer is the big question I got. You can go listen to Locked On Rockets for more on that. Coming up, let's get into the Magic. Franz Wagner and Germany are playing really well right now, but will it translate to Magic and Magic success? I was like, you can do both those things. Let's talk about that and more. Locked On NBA Daily continues coming up. Today's episode of Locked On NBA Daily is brought to you by Monarch Money. I asked the guys earlier, what'd you spend too much money on? I ask you this same question. What do you spend too much money on? Because you may not even know it. You may need to see it all listed out in front of you. I needed that. I needed to see all of it in the charts. I needed to see the flow charts. I needed to see everything in front of me. I need the visuals in order for me to figure out, all right, where's my money coming from and where is it going? And figure all that out. Monarch Money helps you. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. I love that you can do it on different platforms. I love that it also includes like things like your 401k, your investments, your things that you don't even think about. A savings account. It's not just spending. It's not just finding the subscriptions. Although it does those things, it helps you with so much more. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com. Again, the code is all one word, LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com. Thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Daily. We have a show that covers your favorite team, Locked On Bulls with Haize and my guy Pat, the designer, Locked On Heat with Wes Goldberg and David Ramil, and myself and Isaac Harris on Locked On Mavs. Plus, you can go listen to Locked On Rockets with Jackson Gatlin, and you can listen to this next show, Locked On Magic, with Phillip Rossman-Reich as well. Link in the description to find all of those. Let's talk about this Magic team. So Franz Wagner is playing over in Germany, playing really well, doing great. And let's hear from Phillip Rossman-Reich on the obsession. He reiterated obsession many times of Magic fans is Franz Wagner's shot.
Aren't going to pretend that Franz Wagner's shooting does not matter. After 2 great seasons as a shooter and a very high volume scorer, the last 2 years have been baffling, confusing, stunning, to say the least. Even though you don't need him to be your leading three-point shooter, or you just need him to do enough to be respected from beyond the arc, he's not there. And in this league, you've got to be able to hit shots. Now, again, like I feel like I have to preface this because we do obsess over Franz Wagner's shot. I talk to a lot of people, and it's the number one thing they want to talk to me about when it comes to Franz. Let's make it very, very clear. Franz Wagner is a really good basketball player. He does not need a three-point shot to be an all-star, but we're going to get to a point where, yes, his three-point shooting might matter, might be the difference between winning and losing a playoff series. And we'll get there when we get there. But at this point, he's still young enough, still has a chance to improve. It's how he gets there.
Wes, I'm going to start with you. Do they have time is my question. He said, we'll get there when we get there. The Magic want to win right now. They went out and made a big win-now move to get Desmond Bane. They traded a bunch of pieces, a bunch of picks for him. This is a team that expects to win and in a really weak Eastern Conference be good this season. Do they have time for Franz Wagner to develop that?
So before I answer the question, this is easily my least favorite form of NBA conversation is three-point shooting. You could have told me this before
I planned it.
Three-point shooting. Can he or can't he? It would be like in the NFL if every player had to be able to catch the ball. This one skill basically defining whether or not a player is NBA caliber or not is really, it's probably the worst part of the current NBA system. It's like you can't do anything else just to be on an NBA floor. You have to be able to shoot threes in order to be there. That said, they do have time. I'm not that worried. Yes, they are built to win right now. They're also built to win in the future. They got all their stars under contract, including Franz, Paolo. They re-signed Jalen Suggs recently. Desmond Bane is obviously under contract as well. Yes, they traded a lot of firsts away for Desmond Bane and all these things. Who cares? Nobody cares about the first-round picks in Orlando. They're not very good at using first-round picks in Orlando outside of Franz and Paolo. It doesn't much matter to them. They have the roster that they need, and they have everybody under contract. So they have plenty of time, even if the East is pretty open this year. They can make their run. They can get their playoff experience. They're not going to win the championship this year. Come on, if we're being real about it. But they can make a run. That said, I hate that we're talking about Franz's three-point shooting like when Phillips talks about he does so many other things so well. He's a natural driver. He is so physical. He is so smart. He is so efficient with everything he does. I love watching Franz Wagner play. It sucks that we have to always talk about the three-point shooting with him. That said, it's true. He does need to start making threes, especially when he's paired up with another star like Paolo Banchero, who's also not an awesome three-point shooter. Opponents are going to play off of both of those guys, Haize. And I just wonder if this is the next version of Tatum and Brown, where we're kind of going to have a conversation of these next few years of, well, can you play them together? Can you build a team around them together? Do you have to trade one of them? I do wonder if there's another year or two of neither of them being this floor spacing threat and helping each other in that way if we're about to have that kind of conversation.
It probably is going to go that way unless they make like the Desmond Bane acquisition and they make other acquisitions that help them with 3-point shooting, because shooting, especially 3-pointers, has been is an Achilles heel over the Orlando Magic team. Now, I do think we can't really judge exactly what that team was going to be last year because they dealt with so many injuries. So I'm interested to see now having Paolo and Franz hopefully on the court for the majority of the season together and see how they continue to develop, that becomes more of the story. They did go out and add a really good shooter in Desmond Bane that's going to bring a lot of what they lack from the 3-point shooting perspective of that team. But they're just so good right now and they both like, while they are both polished, they both still have, I think, another gear to their game that you're hoping to uncover. So let's not act like they're quite finished products yet. They still have refinement and everything that they need to do there. So I think that they're going to be fine. Franz can take his game a step further. It does suck that one of the first round picks they did hit on, they got from the Chicago Bulls. But other than that, I love Franz Wagner, who he's turned into as a player.
Let me push back on the they have time agenda. The window in the NBA is so short. I don't know if it's just the PTSD of having covered a Mavericks team that all of a sudden their window is completely different than it was before.
It might have something to do with it.
But I mean, from covering the Heat, you have Jimmy Butler and Bam, and all of a sudden you're like, oh wait, now this is done. He's in Golden State. You have Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah and the Bulls, and all of a sudden their window is closed. They close faster than you think, and I think this is a prime opportunity for them. And I don't know that there's anything for them to do, right? Maybe it's adjust their offense a little bit, but I don't think that they have time for one of your best scorers on your team to struggle offensively and to struggle with his shot like this. And I think that they really need that skill to come around in order for them to get through the playoffs. I'm talking about not be good in the regular season. They'll be fine in the regular season, right? We've seen the Thunder with Josh Giddey at the helm be really, really good. And he struggles with his shot, but to go through the playoff rounds and to get to the finals, which is what I think this team is potentially capable of, I think they need him to step up in that area.
Look, I think that's fair. Right. And that's why you see them make a trade for Desmond Bane and things like that. But it's more than just the 3-point shooting with these guys. They also have to develop as playmakers, and they don't have a natural point guard necessarily on the roster outside of Jalen Suggs, who can set the table for you, but he's not really a drive and kick kind of guy. That's Franz. Franz is an awesome driver. I would argue he's probably a more natural playmaker than Paolo is. And so that's the other part of this Magic offense that needs fixing. If they could get to a top 15-ish offense, which is a huge ask for an Orlando Magic team that hasn't been outside of the bottom 10 in offensive rating in like 10 years, if they can get out of it, I don't really care how they do it as long as they do it. But a big part of that, too, is going to be Franz and Paolo's playmaking. Can they get other guys involved? Because it's cool that Desmond Bane can hit threes, and he can obviously do some playmaking on his own. But if they're not able to create those shots for their teammates, it just makes everything a lot more difficult for everybody else. But again, that's the 3-point shooting team. When we get down to just talking about 3-point shooting all the time with these guys, we ignore the things that they do well. And with Franz, he's a very good driver to the basket who can set up others for 3-point shots. And they just need to have the personnel around him to make that happen.
It's funny you mentioned them, like how low they ranked offensive efficiency. They have to do like the inverse of what the Detroit Pistons did. The Pistons were towards the bottom of defensive efficiency for years, and now I think they got up to 11th last year. So they can just be middle of the pack with the defense that they have. They can be a really, really good team. I do like the fact that Nick also mentioned that the window's closed short, but yeah, both the Heat and the Mavericks have wild GMs that do crazy things. So there's that part of it.
Are you taking shots at the Mavs and Heat GMs as somebody who hosts a Chicago Bulls podcast? Is that really what you want to do here?
Yeah, because listen, to have it and to lose it,
no one, right?
To have it and to lose it, it's way different from having a GM that's never had it. So this is a little different there.
I'm just glad that Nico Harrison and Pat Riley were in the same conversation.
That's great. Yeah, windows shut really fast, right? I mean, the last one for Chicago was in the 90s, and they couldn't get it open.
No, we had a window there in
Derrick
the 2000s,
Rose?
and then Derrick Rose's knees looked at it and said,
Right. Yeah, the fake MVP because everybody hated LeBron.
No,
Yeah,
it was
They made the
wide
Eastern
open.
Conference Finals.
If that
And
same
lost.
team would have been healthy the following year, they would have made it. They would have made it past the Eastern Conference Finals. He never got to play with Marco Bellinelli. That would have changed a lot.
Let's do this real quick. This is an early buy it or tonight. Who in the East is their window is open right now?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Cavs.
Cavs for sure.
Cavs is the Celtics is on hold, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no way
The
this
Knicks.
year.
The Knicks are the team with
Knicks
the most
window is
open
open.
window that could shut really fast. It's the Cavs, it's the Knicks, and in terms of
is the Magic? The Magic is their window open?
I gotta wait to see what they look like with Bade. It's possible.
the,
but I'm not
the
willing to
window
say
is
yet.
open, but it has that screen in front of it too, so it's not completely open. But you can kind of get a little bit of a breeze.
You don't have to full Kool-Aid man through it. You just have to get through
Correct.
the screen part if you want to bust through that.
Yeah.
Nobody else. Bucks. Pacers is on hold for sure.
So the Bucks window is as open as it's gonna be at this point. So I would say Milwaukee's window is also open, but it's a small crack that they're gonna have to get through.
I'll hit
It's
both
open by
buttons
the
at same
nature
time.
only for the fact that they have one of the best players in basketball right now, and therefore the window is always at least a little bit open when you have one of those.
So we got 3.5 teams. Their windows are open.
I
In
think
the East,
there's other teams that their window is open to make the Eastern Conference Finals, but in terms of winning the whole thing, it's probably
Yeah.
only 2 or 3 teams. But I would argue even Detroit's window is open right now to make an Eastern Conference Finals.
That's
the
fair.
Hawks, these teams, they have their windows are open to make deep runs, and you throw in Orlando into that for sure.
Coming up, let's talk about one of those Eastern Conference teams. Let's talk about the Bucks and Giannis. He misses another game for EuroBasket. What does that mean for the Bucks going forward? Let's talk about that and more coming up. Locked on NBA Daily continues coming up next. It's Locked on NBA Daily. It's Haize, Wes, and myself. We're talking about the NBA. We're talking about Magic. We talked about the Rockets. Now let's play Buy It or Deny It, where it's not buy or sell. Because if you sell, you get something from it. Like that's assuming that you're selling and you're gaining something. Deny it is just like no. You just like turn it away. Like they offer. If you ever been to one of those like Brazilian style places where they bring around stuff all the time, and you gotta like either take it or you just say no, thank you. I don't want that anymore.
Always pass on the chicken. Don't waste your time.
I've had some. I don't know. I had some good chicken.
We've all had good chicken.
At a Brazilian steakhouse, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
I refuse to be included in a chicken conversation. Wes got it.
I also got it, but as the channel manager, I am not going to, with an
Laugh
HR
at it.
with
It's
an
funny.
HR department. Giannis Antetokounmpo missed another EuroBasket game for Greece after some discomfort in his knee. It's his second missed game. The buy it or deny it statement is this: if Giannis plays 50 games for the Bucks, they will miss the postseason. And I'm not saying 50 or more. I'm saying just 50 or less. They miss the entire postseason. Haize, you're buying it. Why?
I'm buying it. I don't believe in the Bucks right now. And I get it that they added Miles Turner. Make no mistake about it. I like Miles Turner as a player, but we've also seen some of the faults there. I don't trust Doc Rivers as a coach. I never have, never will. And so if Giannis is there for 50 games or less, like, yeah, they may make the play-in, but even then, I don't necessarily trust them to come out the play-in if that's the case. I just don't believe very much in the Bucks right now.
I'm going to deny it. If Giannis plays 50 games, Milwaukee in the Eastern Conference could win 35 of those games. And then they just have to figure out a way to win 5 more games the rest of the year, and you're in the play-in mix. And as long as Giannis is healthy for the play-in part of the tournament, they could make the postseason. I agree with Haize. Like, so what? Who cares? But, to Nick's question, you asked, would they miss the postseason? I think they could still make the playoffs if Giannis only plays 50 games. But yeah, they won't do much after that. But I think Bucks fans should be at least a little happy right now with how things are being handled in Greece, because they're not forcing him to play in these second days of back-to-backs and all these things. And Giannis is clearly, prioritizing his health. And if he wasn't healthy enough to be playing, he wouldn't be playing.
Israel and Deni Avdija beat Belgium 92-89 today on Tuesday. Deni Avdija scored 22 points in another really good game for him in EuroBasket. He's averaging 22 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals in about 32 minutes. My question, I'll start with Wes. The statement is, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
How much of this is going to be taken down because of HR? This is my favorite Israel topic. Is Israel basketball.
No, the real statement is Deni Avdija has all-star potential.
Haize, now I know what it feels like. To just be the token something on the show. What was your question, Nick?
Deni Avdija has all-star potential.
Yeah, for sure. I'm buying this 100%. Look, he might be the best player on the Trailblazers right now. And Portland is acting like a team that can make a playoff push. Now, if we're buying and denying that, I might deny that one in the Western Conference. But they're like, hey, Drew Holiday, we think he can help us. I'm like, for what? Obviously, they think that they could make a push for the postseason. And if this is a team that's even on the fringe of the play-in mix in the Western Conference, they're going to have just one player who stands out and maybe is at least a fringe all-star. I think that could be Deni this year.
I think Deni has the potential. I'll buy it. I like Deni Avdija on that team, and I do think the Portland Trailblazers, at least in their mind, they are gunning for the playoffs this upcoming year. And who to say that they necessarily can? They may be able to be better than Sacramento, which a lot of teams should be able to be. So we'll see what they do as far as make the play-in. But Deni has tons of potential, and I like that how the conversation around him turned last year. Now that he started looking like a really good player, so hopefully that continues this season.
Jeremy Lin recently announced his retirement from basketball. My statement is Jeremy Lin deserves some kind of mention or place in the Hall of Fame. There should be some kind of wing for like highlight contributors where if you want to tell the whole story of the NBA, there's certain moments that just deserve things. Derek Fisher's 0.3 seconds shot, Robert Horry, this would be a place where you put him. Maybe like a Udonis Haslem or like a longtime contributor. They're not going to make the Hall of Fame, but there should be some kind of wing for these like special moment NBA figures.
So I like what you did there. You're trying to grease me up by including Udonis Haslem into this to buy in on your theory here. I think Jeremy Lin could have a case for the Basketball Hall of Fame, and the key word there is he won back-to-back championships in the professional Taiwanese league. He's coming off of back-to-back championships. He's going out like Jordan.
Who's the last Taiwanese basketball player to make Hall of Fame?
It's a relatively new league, but it is the Basketball Hall of Fame. Let's keep that in mind. And he is a back-to-back champion. He's the MVP of the league last season, and he's retiring like again. He's going out like Michael Jordan. He's going out like John Elway with a championship. Who knows? Like maybe he could make the basketball. He's a two-time champion.
Way farther than I thought this topic would take us.
At that point, like then are we going to start letting people into the Basketball Hall of Fame because the championships in the Big Three? Like how far does this go? Like it's
Mario Chalmers just hit a big shot. Let's go.
That's Chris Haynes' way to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
That's it.
I mean, listen, I get where you're getting at here. I'm going to deny it, but I do think that there should be something for like great moments, stories, whatever it is. I don't know if it should be in the Basketball Hall of Fame, but I mean, yeah, to tell the story of the NBA, Lin Sanity is going to have to be part of that story, and that alone should be something that he should really relish. The fact that he has to be told as part of the story of the NBA. But Hall of Fame, no, I'm good on that.
No, I'm going to deny this. You don't need a wing for like this is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. Not everything has to be everything all the time. It's like people who argue that Marvel movies should be considered for Oscars. It's not enough that you're not like the blockbuster hit and you made billions of dollars and we all saw this show. You also have to have an award to go with it so you feel good about it. No.
RDJ deserved that. He deserved
We all remember Lin Sanity. We all know where we were. We had a good time. We could just enjoy the memory of it. We don't necessarily have to enshrine everything. The NBA has such a problem with adding layers to stuff just to make everything all the time. It's okay. We have Lin Sanity. We remember it. It's what it was. There's books about it. There's highlight packages on YouTube that you can go find. You don't have to go to the Basketball Hall of Fame to figure that part of it out.
I would just like to walk into a wing and just see all the craziest moments of the NBA, right? Like you see there'd probably be like a COVID section where they show games where there's no fans. The Lin Sanity moment. Like there's got to be these moments in NBA history where you're like, let's remember them and have let's have a wing of fun.
It sounds like a pre-internet invention, Nick. Like now we just have all of that all the time.
And let's not forget too, one thing that you left off his accolades there is he is an NBA champion. He was on the Toronto Raptors. Champion. He's an NBA champion. He has a ring.
3 rings.
He's got a ring and 2 in the Taiwanese league, I've heard.
Yeah.
That was hilarious. This one is a clip that resurfaced on Reddit recently. I looked it up and I was like, did he say this recently? But it was like a couple years ago. Lamar Odom was on Shannon Sharp's show a couple years ago. This clip resurfaced. He said, "Let me tell you how stupid NBA teams are. They give the ball to their best player and put him in a pick and roll. That player often handles the ball almost to the shot clock at the end. Then he passes the ball to a player that's not as good as him. He has to take or make a shot in less time than he'd have the ball. My statement is this: NBA teams are stupid and offenses have been dumbed down in favor of letting stars cook.
I'm going to deny this. Although I appreciate where Lamar Odom's coming from. And there's definitely a lot of truth to what he's saying. But if you think about what the alternative is okay, so we're going to put the ball in our worst player's hands and he's just going to stand there with it for 20 seconds and not do anything and then just throw a grenade to the best player and make him bail it out for 10 seconds left on the shot clock. This is why the heliocentric offense does not work. It's why you need ball movement. It's why you need cutting. It's why the Golden State Warriors were so good. It's why the Denver Nuggets offense is so good. It's why the Thunder were able to win it last year and the Celtics the year before that. Everybody's got to touch the ball. It doesn't really matter what order it's in as long as it makes sense for your roster.
Yeah, spreading the ball around, it just makes sense for an NBA team if you want to attack the defense and spread the defense out and not become predictable. So I get what he's getting at, but I'm gonna deny it. I understand what he's getting at, but I just think it's just not the way things are gonna happen.
I'm glad you guys both denied that NBA teams are stupid. That would be an interesting spot for us to be in.
Most NBA teams are not.
There are some.
Let's name the teams that are.
Well, the Mavericks, number one. And I guess the
why'd you
Orlando
hit that
Magic, where we just had this kind of they can't put a decent offense on the court. So I guess they're offensively stupid. They're like me in college, where I was math stupid and then I was journalism good.
I mean, the Sacramento Kings. Look at that roster that they built. Makes no sense.
That one's tough.
The Charlotte Hornets. Look at the number of picks that they've missed on.
Doug has been gone for 2 days, and we're already taking shots at the Charlotte Hornets.
I told Doug it was all love while he was still here. The moment he left, he's a traitor now. So yeah, the Charlotte Hornets.
Guys, thanks for hanging out with us on Locked On NBA Daily. Go check out all the great shows. Go check out Locked On NBA Game Night tonight with Wes and Tony East. Great stuff all the time on those shows. Thanks so much for listening to Locked On NBA.